Whether money, priceless artworks, or untold vaults of knowledge, the idea of treasure titillates the minds of nearly every person on Earth. Fortunes have been thrown away in the quest for lost treasure, and the fame and even greater monetary rewards they promise. You're watching Professor Googlev, and today you will hear about 5 of the world's greatest lost treasures. Let's go! The Copper Scroll. The Copper Scroll is one of the 981 texts found at the Khirbet Qumran between 1946 and 1956, collectively known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. It holds special significance to Indiana Jones, hopefuls because it purports to be a treasure map. Written on very thin sheets of rolled-up copper, it's the only document found at Khirbet Qumran not written on either parchment or papyrus. In addition, the Hebrew which is inscribed into it differs from that of the other scrolls. It is of a sort which was more commonly used hundreds of years later. The Copper Scroll mentions over 60 different locations with varied amounts of gold and silver said to be buried or hidden at each one of them. It is often highly specific, with directions such as in the gutter, which is in the bottom of the rainwater tank. No evidence, other than the scroll itself, has ever been found to indicate the existence of those hoards, but that hasn't stopped a number of people from leading expeditions to find them. Some scholars believe it's more than likely that the Romans already found all of treasure, as they had a habit of torturing captives in order to find their secret stashes. The history of Cardenio. While most people are familiar with William Shakespeare's famous lost play, Love's Labour's Won, a less well-known yet equally sought-after play is The History of Cardenio. Written by Shakespeare and John Fletcher, the play was centered on a character in Miguel de Cervantes' epic novel Don Quixote. Evidence of the play exists in a few places, including a list of the plays to be performed by the King's Men in May of 1613. However, the manuscript for the play was lost and never seen again. In the 18th century, Lewis Theobald, a Shakespeare editor and playwright, claimed to have found a copy of the manuscript and improved on it, turning it into a play known as The Double Falsehood. The manuscript Theobald claimed to have was placed in London's Covent Garden Playhouse, which burned to the ground in the early 19th century. Whether or not Theobald was telling the truth, we still don't have the unadulterated version from the greatest playwright who ever lived. Treasure of Lima. What list of lost treasures would be complete without a little piracy? Allegedly stashed on the uninhabited Cocos Island is a treasure rumored to be worth almost $300 million. The whole consists of 113 gold religious statues, a life-size Virgin Mary, 200 chests of jewels, 273 swords with jewel hilts, 1,000 diamonds, and many more. According to the original inventory, all riches accumulated by the Catholic Church during its time in South America. It was originally given to a British trader named William Thompson for safekeeping. Church officials wanted him to sail around for a few months until the revolutions which had flared up all around Spain's colonies cooled off. Unfortunately for the Catholic Church, it was too much of a temptation for Thompson and his men, who killed the guard in charge of watching over the treasure and sailed to Cocos Island. They allegedly buried all the riches, intending to come back later after the heat had died down. Unfortunately for them, their ship was intercepted by Spanish officials, and the crew, save for Thompson and his first mate, were hung for piracy. In return for clemency, Thompson agreed to lead officials to the treasure, but fled into the jungle as soon as he arrived, and he, as well as the treasure, was never seen again. The Magsburg Specimen. One of the earliest examples of a transitional fossil, Archaeopteryx, has long been hailed as an important find, both in the fields of paleontology and ornithology. Only 11 relatively complete fossils have ever been found, making each one extremely valuable. The Magsburg specimen was discovered in 1956 by 2 men working at a quarry in Germany, which was owned by a man named Edward Oppich. At the time, it was only the 3rd Archaeopteryx specimen found, and he lent it to the nearby Magsburg Museum for study. Initially intending to sell it, Oppich balked when he learned he would have to pay taxes on it. He removed it from the museum and returned it to his house, where it stayed hidden until his death. Afterward, his nephew tried to find it, but was unable to. It is presumed to have been stolen in the days following Oppich's death. If it's ever found, scientists believe recent technological advancements might allow them to find out even more about the fossil, as it was never properly cleaned. The Kusanagi